I was also just wondering what sacrifices you've had to make to pursue such a unique career that requires travel. You said you've traveled like 50 times in 1 year, made 50 trips. I was just wondering what sacrifices have been necessary to pursue this.
It was exhausting. I only started the wildlife photography in my 40s. It's never too late. The biggest sacrifice was the fact that I missed aspects of my children growing up. I'd obviously come back and be with them, but the times I was just at home, but there would be lots of times where I'd be away for a month or two and not see my children. And so that was the hardest thing. Of course, not to Kathy as well at that time. She was so busy selling the pictures.
If you could only photograph one animal, what would it be?
It's not something I give much thought to. And I tell you why I can't really answer that is because Irving Penn, you should be able to, if you photograph, whatever you're photographing, you should do with total interest. The session I probably enjoyed the most, in fact, it was a series of sessions. I made 3 trips to India to photograph an elephant swimming underwater, and that was for the book Elephant that I did with Thames and Hudson. And that was probably the most emotionally rewarding. And it was such a privilege and a pleasure to swim with all the scuba diving gear on it, a whole team of people who were helping me photograph the elephant swimming. And I had no experience as an underwater photographer. I had no scuba diving experience. I had to do a crash course, and with a lot of help from a lot of people, I was able to get some images I was very happy with.
I was also wondering if you got into any dangerous situations when you've been out in the field shooting.
Sometimes the most dangerous things involve human beings. When I was photographing gorillas in the Democratic Republic of Congo at a time when there was a lot of political unrest and there were no mobile phones, and just dealing with people and roadblocks and permissions and people wanting bribes and all sorts of things. That was difficult. And I was out of contact with Kathy for about a month, and she was very worried. I was just disappeared photographing because there were no phones. There was no internet contact then. I've been charged by a rhinoceros. So that was a bit scary, but the rhino swerved out of the way. I was covered in dust and so on.
What, so did you try and get out of the way, or did it, you just accept
No,
it and then it
the
just
the
swiveled
the,
out?
the guy tried to fire a warning shot into the air. He would never have shot the rhino. He tried to just fire a shot in the air to scare the rhino, and his rifle jammed. And the driver tried to start the Jeep, and the Jeep engine wouldn't start. You can't start a Jeep and drive away from a rhino that's charging you. But the rhino put on its rhino brakes and swerved. I took a photograph of it coming towards me full speed. Got that one. Got the picture.
I was also wondering how much research plays a role in these big projects and photographs, because I think,
Research is huge. And that's one of the things that Kathy was very involved in. For example, I'd see a picture in National Geographic of a specific animal, I think. And then you go there and it's out of scene. Animal at that particular time wouldn't have been in that particular area. So we had to research which was the right time. Then you have to research to find guides and people on the ground to assist you. So there was a huge amount of groundwork in order to put teams together.
yeah. And how long did that process take compared to how long you were actually in the field for most projects on average?
It's difficult to quantify because it varied from project to project, but it was intensive. You had to do a lot of searching and researching.
And what was that process like? Was there a lot of just reading books and scrolling through the internet and finding contacts?
It was multiple things. And the internet wasn't as advanced as it is today. You couldn't just ask chat or Grok or whatever. You had to do a lot, and a lot of the information wasn't on the internet yet because the internet was in its early embryonic stages.